much for joining me today on Playing the Field. I'm Maria Serrao. We are in the studio and so much to get to on today's show. First up, we need to talk about the Rams and the latest comings and goings. And who's going? Head coach Jeff Fisher was fired this week. There's a lot going on, but the bottom line is wins and losses in football. And after 5 years, the Rams are going to go in a new direction. Now, there's a lot of names swirling around out there, including John Gruden, Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll. Guess what? These guys all have jobs, but anything can happen in football, so we'll keep you posted. For now, special teams coach John Fossil is going to be the interim coach, and that's good news. Here's what he had to say after his first full practice yesterday.
It's good. It's great. It's always good to be back out on the grass, after the last 24 hours. And Tuesday is a normal practice day for us anyways during the week, so it was just a kind of a normal Tuesday practice, even though it really was Friday emphasis. It felt good this morning in the meetings, the installs. It was a pretty fast practice, for a short week. But we're used to practicing on Tuesday, so it was a little bit liver than a normal Tuesday, which was good. The guys will be ready to go. Yeah, he said, be yourself, and go for it. There really wasn't a lot of discussion. He's going to beat the game, which I think I told you yesterday, which would be really exciting for me. And I'll rely on him a lot. Yeah, I'm not getting much sleep, but that's okay. At this point, you're kind of immune to it anyways. I try to stay in pretty decent shape so I can, handle this. But yeah, the adrenaline is a huge bonus. So I'm, gosh, 24 hours, I'm just learning on the fly. It's been an incredible experience, I would love to know everything Coach Fisher knows. It's just there's so many things, and I'll never learn all of it, but it's interesting to kind of be on that side of it. There's no manual for it, and I just try to find my spot. I don't know if I was in the right place, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll definitely steer clear of dealing with Jared. He's a great kid, but I just, the quarterback room is the one that I have the least amount of experience with. Yeah. So, I'll be in communication with Rob and Coach Wenke and do what's best for the kid. Yeah.
And more good news for the Rams is that Eric Dickerson will be back on the sideline. Now, he belongs on the sideline, so we move on to a new day with the Rams. And as for the players, well, they're desperately trying to win games. And one player in particular who's spending his off time spreading a positive message is Jamal Brown. Here's my one-on-one with Jamal Brown.
We're here with Jamal Brown from the Rams. Jamal, you started a charity, People Uplifting Real People. Tell me about that, how you first established it and why.
How it first started was me, my twin brother, Jamal Brown, and one of my best friends, Jason Reynolds. We kind of got together and was going out into community centers and nursing homes back at home in Louisville, Kentucky. And we had realized the impact and the influence that we was having on the people in those facilities. And that's when we kind of came up with PERT Me, which is People Uplifting Real People. We realized that normal people like ourselves could impact or could uplift someone else. And so what we do is we go around boys and girls clubs, schools, churches, and we try to get the youth knowing about what purpose is and what their purpose is and how uplifting others can help them find their purpose. So that's pretty much how PERT Me came about.
It's such an amazing charity because people do need uplifted and they need positivity in their lives. How did you establish this in groups so that, where are you located?
Well, right now we're in Louisville, Kentucky. That's the main base. We started to branch out in Cincinnati of Ohio, and soon we'll be here in Los Angeles. So right now in Louisville we have, I think it's 2 boys and girls clubs that we work with. 3 schools, and we're in 2 churches as of right now. And what those groups do within those facilities is it's all catered to the facility. So boys and girls clubs, they might be more towards kids. Churches could be all ages, from adults on down. And then schools is obviously the kids in the school. And we just get the kids to realize that their goals and their gifts and kind of use that to inspire the other kids to want to find their goals and their talents. And as that rubs off on each other, a chain reaction.
You know, it's interesting. You know, you have a twin brother, and I hear that you guys are pretty good singers too. Tell us about that.
We do a little bit of singing. So coming up, my mom had us in the church choir when we were young, and that's kind of how it started. And as we grew older, we just kind of stuck with that, and the talent grew. My brother now, he plays the piano. He is a music director at Greater Good Baptist Church in Louisville, Kentucky. So he's furthered his music background. Me, I still sing from time to time, but obviously the main focus is football.
Now, do you sing for your teammates?
I have. I wouldn't necessarily say cater to the teammates, but I have sang in front of the guys, and they don't give me too much about it.
They hear your pipes and they respect that, right?
They respect it. As long as good pipes, then you get respect.
Interesting. When you were talking about the fact that you go out to touch young people, you also mentioned nursing homes, and those people need that help too. They need to know they're loved.
Oh yeah, we didn't realize the impact that it had on nursing homes because you don't realize a lot of those people don't get visitors, on a regular basis, and when we made that encounter in the nursing home, and a couple of the elderly had told us that, we were kind of shocked, that they don't get visitors, and how happy and uplifted they was from, our encounter, kind of touched us more than it touched them. And it made us realize, how blessed and how fortunate we are to be able to do certain things.
What kind of things did you talk about with them, or what was what was your hour? What did your hour consist of?
Well, for me, because I played in the hometown college, University of Louisville, that was pretty much what drove the conversation. So a lot of the elderly, they were Cardinal fans, so we were able to play off that for mostly the hour. But they just ended up having normal conversation. Just being able to talk to somebody was all they really was looking for. So once we got done talking about Louisville football, we just kind of talked about everyday life.
It's interesting. Football is all about giving back, and you started it very young. Does it help you on the field to know what you're doing off the field as well?
I believe so. My coach in college, Dave Borbley, told me, find me a good person, I'll show you a good football player. He said that kind of goes hand in hand. What you do off the field, go with what you do on the field. So I kind of took that to heart and kind of used that quote in the back of my mind to realize that everything goes together.
Because wins or losses are going to come, but it's what you do in here.
Most definitely. That can be more impactful than the wins and the losses.
Thanks so much, Jamal, and you can get involved in his charity by going to perpme.com. Okay, now we have big news in baseball. That's right, the Dodger GMs have done the right thing, and they are paying Kenley Jansen and Justin Turner and Rich Hill as well to stay in Dodger blue. Now, many of you know how I feel about Justin Turner. He's not just another third baseman. He's the heart and soul of that team, and he's the leader in the locker room. And I commend the Dodgers, yes I do, for putting some value in that. This team was just 2 games away from the World Series last year, and now the best closer in baseball signed in Kenley Jansen. Things look good in Dodgerland. And our Angels are making deals too. They've brought in Cameron Maben and Danny Espinosa. Now, we know they need help at pitching, and the GM Billy Epler is addressing that issue. Remember, the Angels will have a healthy Tyler Skaggs and Garrett Richards on the mound, along with this year's MVP, of course, Mike Trout, and all-star veteran Albert Pujols. Now, this is a good team that needs to add some pieces, so we'll keep you posted. Now, as you guys know, one of my favorite people in the whole world is former Angel Torii Hunter. And so whenever Torii says he's involved in raising money for any charity, I'm there. And I'm not the only one. Let's take a look.
I think the one thing that we can do for the next generation of baseball players is give them opportunity, and it comes in all parts of this country, all areas, and obviously I think the guys that are going to show up today have a connection with Major League Baseball, connection with the academy, and understand its importance in giving kids just an opportunity. That's the biggest thing. It's what sometimes guys in our generation take for granted is everybody played baseball. We always had an opportunity when I was growing up to play any sport we wanted to. Not so much anymore, so it's important for us to continue to move forward and get the kids the equipment, the playing time, the coaching, the instruction, the fields, everything.
So many of the kids that come out to the ballpark, they get to meet major leaguers for the first time. What does that mean for them to meet somebody like you?
Well, I know I was inspired anytime I was around people that you that had some success or went down the path you want to go. And I think that anytime we can let kids know, hey, I was there 20 years ago, or we're no different. And when you see when you can talk to a Mike Trout, and you can talk to an Adrian Gonzalez, or Seager, the guys that are now carrying the banner for Major League Baseball in Southern California. It's inspiring for kids, and I think it's important.
Our host continues to inspire, and Torii Hunter, I think he brings a smile to everybody's face. Talk about him a little bit.
Tori's he's just a ray of sunshine. This guy, wherever he walks into, the place lights up. He has a deep deep desire to help people less fortunate. He loves the game of baseball. He knows what the game of baseball did for his life. And he wants to make sure that other kids have that same opportunity.
This is something that's near and dear to my heart. I was one of the inner city kids, and kind of underprivileged. And whenever you can get together and raise money for such a great cause like this, you gotta be here. You're playing golf, and you're doing it for a great cause. So you get to play golf and suck in it, and also do something great. So when you get guys together, Kenny Lofton, you're talking about some actors that's supposed to be here, Don Cheadle and Anthony Anderson. You get these guys together, we have a great time, but at the same time, we're raising money for the Urban Youth Academy. So it's very near and dear to my heart. It's something that that I'm close to. It has grown. You talk about Aaron Hicks, you talked about Anthony Ghost. All these guys have come out, and they're products of the Urban Youth Academy. And to get to the big leagues and learn and grow in the game, those guys are the products. So when you have these other kids looking at those guys coming from the Urban Youth Academy, I mean, it inspires you. So I definitely think that when you get more of the kids in the inner city and the Urban Youth Academy to get into the big leagues, it's kind of like a billboard, and I definitely think it's going to grow from here.
You know what it's like to be one of those kids. You were mentioning that. What do you say to them when you meet them along the way, just to give them encouragement?
You just, you try to talk to them about life. I always say baseball is life, life is baseball. Whenever you have some failures in baseball, failures in life, you have to make the adjustment. You have to get up and fight. You're going to have rough times in either or, baseball or life. But if you sit there and you don't learn and you don't work hard, you don't get better. And that's the same thing. So that's why I say baseball is life, life is baseball. So I try to tell these guys to kind of take the good for the bad. You're having a rough time right now. You're trying to figure out these different things. Just like in life, you have to talk to the wise, right? That's the only way you're going to know things. So I talk to the wise baseball player, and I talk to the wise man in the world, and that's the only way we can grow.
Major League Baseball Urban Youth Academy is a organization that we're involved with youth baseball. And we're over there just trying to get kids more involved with baseball and play more baseball. As a kid, when I was growing up, I remember we had little leagues, and we had little league fields in every neighborhood where I grew up, and we had parents and adults coaching us and bringing us up, and I just think it's something very gratifying to me to give back to our youth and try to help them follow a dream that I once pursued.
It's so tough to keep them on the straight and narrow. What kind of advice do you give them when you see them?
Well, for the most part, we try to let them know ahead of time where they're headed if they're going to get in trouble. Sometimes you try to explain to kids, no, you don't want to do that, and you hate for them to turn around and say, yeah, you told me so. After the fact, they get in trouble, but for the most part, whether they want to become professional baseball players or doctors or lawyers or, police officers, whatever the case may be, the academy is a place for us to try to direct those kids either through education or if their skills are good enough, they'll get to major league professional baseball.
How many of your friends did you call to be here today?
Well, I got Jock Jones, my old teammate with Minnesota. We got Darren Oliver here. We got a couple other guys, Darryl Miller, Tony Regans, of course. That guy is very special. We did a lot of work at Del Tacos, and so we got a lot of guys. Kenny Lofton's here. So it's going to be a very competitive day. Where else are you going to find that competitive edge? Besides baseball, you can find it in golf. So you might see some trash talking. You might see some guys trying to do too much.
You're a very competitive guy, Torii.
Yeah, I am. I talk a lot of trash to get in your head. So Jock Jones, Kenny, you guys better beware, right?
And it looks like Torii Hunter will be working with the Minnesota Twins in the front office along with his pals Michael Kadire and LaTroy Hawkins. And next season is right around the corner. Can you believe that pitchers and catchers will report in 60 days? Oh my gosh, it's going to be here before we know it. Now, we all know the Cubs are still celebrating their amazing World Series. Well, I caught up with one former Dodger, that's right, Cub David Ross, who talked about playing for the Cubs and being back in LA.
It's always great to catch up with one of our former Dodgers being here. First of all, welcome back. We had talked to your manager yesterday, and one of the things he brought up was the veterans working with the younger guys. What do some of the younger guys ask you as the veteran guy on this team?
I don't know. It's good to be back, first of all, here in LA. Beautiful weather. I don't think you get this weather in many places in October, right? Playoff baseball. But yeah, just little things that come up, whether it's about at bats or I watch as a veteran and watch how they go about their business. When things go awry, maybe a lesson here or there that I've learned, the mistakes I've made. I try to really relate to some of the mistakes I've made because I've made a lot of them over my career. So it's easier to relate to those guys when they mess up and just kind of make them feel better about making a mistake and how to move forward from that is kind of the approach I take because we're all going to make mistakes, we're all going to mess up, and it's about moving forward and learning from it.
What has this team been like being a part of it this last year? It's been so amazing, and here you guys are.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I'm very fortunate actually to be a part of this group in my last year and going out on a high note with this group. It's a very, very talented group, a lot of great human beings in this group, character guys, the coaching staff, the front office. It's just a great place. The fans treat me great in Chicago. It's been a lot of fun for me, and I think it's more of a blessing for me than I am on their team, that's for sure.
Well, David, you have been such a blessing. I think everywhere that you've been, you've contributed so much to every team you've been a part of.
Thank you very much. I just try to be myself, treat people the way I'd want to be treated, and try to help out. We're all family, we're all one big group, and it's all about helping out each other and learning from each other and helping each other succeed. And we got a really fun group here in Chicago, and it's nice for me to be a part of it.
And David Ross is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, so you can't help but feel good about the Cubs winning when there's a David Ross on their team. All right, moving on to basketball. Now, we're going to start with the Lakers, who are struggling a little bit, okay? They're young, and they're learning Luke's system. Now, it's no excuse, it's just a reality. Luke likes getting a lot of players involved, which is good because there's been a lot of injuries. Now, I still think this is a good team that could sneak into the 8th seed. Here are some thoughts from head coach Luke Walton.
We played well enough offensively to win. We scored 112 points at home. That should be a win. But too many easy buckets we gave up. Guys got in a rhythm early. A couple miscommunications on switches, and it's tough to win when you can't get stops. Well, I won't say when you can't get stops, because we can get stops. It's tough to win when we don't get stops. In the first half, we did a better job of just making a simple play. Honestly, that's what we stress. We just want hit the open player. We don't need home runs. Just make singles all day long. And we had a couple turnovers in the second half where we were trying to do a little too much. I think where the risk reward wasn't really there, and some of them were just unlucky, whatever it is. The one D'Angelo had to Timo rolling down the lane. Timo thought he was shooting it. D'Angelo passed at the last second, so that should have been a dunk, but he was going for the rebound, which is big as they're supposed to do. So we just got to make simple plays because we keep making mistakes. It's all there is to it. We got You know, we've had times where we've gotten stops. We know we can get stops. But those stretches, they're not long enough throughout a game. And to me, it's still about how we start too. You know, Derrick Rose was 5 for 5 in the first however many minutes of the game. You gotta, you know, especially at home, you gotta make the other team feel you, make them know it's gonna be a long night. When you get up in that run and gun back and forth, you know, then anyway, you know, either team's gonna win it definitely. But we gotta get off better starts as far as our physicality on the defensive end, and then throughout the game, we just gotta cut down on the mistakes.
And now moving on to the Clippers. Now, this is a team that's up and down, but mostly up. They came out playing like they were out of their minds, and they hit kind of a wall, okay? But it's all about defense. Defense, especially transition D. So just keep playing, guys. This team is the very best Clipper team I've ever seen, and they're still top 4 in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. It's Spurs, Cavs, all right, Warriors, Clippers. Now, if this team stays together, seriously, look out. Here's more from Doc Rivers and the players.
It was missing because of the way we were playing. You know, it happens. Like you go into a game that you really want to do well, things don't go well for you, and you lose it sometimes. It's you know, like I keep saying, these games are all separate. I'm not gonna, because we lost today, I'm not gonna say it was connected to the Indiana thing. No, we just didn't play well.
I mean, it's a big point of emphasis for us. I think every day in practice, I feel like we're probably more into our defense and we're harder on ourselves about our defense in practice than anything else. So it's been a big point of emphasis for us. And, you know, every game we make it a point to come out and make teams feel us on the defensive end.
I think for us it was about coming out competing. We didn't have one of our better nights and we lost.
Is it, Chris, back this way, I'm sorry. You know, Doc tried to downplay this idea of a rivalry, but when speaking with the Warriors earlier today, they said, yeah, you know, it's Northern California, Southern California. Is it sometimes in between the ears also, or is it?
I mean, we in the same division. You know what I mean? You know, we need to win. You know, just in case. You know, we talk about the Western Conference and you're trying to get down the seeding. You know what I mean? We need it. You know what I mean? But in the scheme of things, December. You know, if we win this game, I don't know. You know what it does for us. You know, like for us, it's about playing the right way. You know, and trying to build something for later, which I'm sure is the same thing for them.
And one more NFL story to update you on, and that is the possibility that the Chargers are coming to LA. Now, after a Measure C was voted down in San Diego, owner Dean Spanos has to make a decision, and he will announce whatever that is in January. Now, we have a tremendous amount of Raider fans here in Los Angeles, and you guys ask me every day about the Raiders coming back. It's still a possibility. Vegas is a possibility. And Ronnie Lott is trying really hard to keep them in Oakland. So we're going to know a lot more next month, so stay tuned. Now, this year was the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, and I was there for all the sights and sounds. It was amazing. So for all you race fans out there that need a little speed in the off season, here you go.
Size of the place is insane. I think for anybody that still comes here today, the size of it is incredible to see. You know, for me, just I would say all of the pageantry of the whole event is what I remember the most as a kid. You know, watching, you know, everybody in the military walk down the front straight, stuff like that. That's still the things that stand out the most, that I enjoy the most about the event. But for sure, those kind of, you remember that vividly, and still do to this day.
I remember the day of the race. It was a lot of people, and the first thing came into my mind, it was like going to a show, a rock star show, and you're waiting for that moment to start. The only difference is I was part of the show.
First time I ever set foot in Indianapolis Motor Speedway was in 2004. I was racing Formula BMW. We were supporting the Grand Prix that year, and I drove in the truck with the trailer, and I'd fallen asleep in the back seat. And I woke up and I looked at my watch and I thought, hey, we should be here about now. And I looked out one window and I saw a bunch of little houses. And I thought, oh, we must not be close because every other racetrack I've been to is in the middle of nowhere. And I looked out of the other window and I saw these grandstands that were 10 stories tall. And I thought, the racetrack's in the middle of a town? I could not believe that a facility of this size literally across a 2-lane road from residential houses. I mean, it just absolutely blew me away. And, you know, just taking in the size of the place, it's like anything. TV never does it justice, right? And seeing it for the first time was pretty awe-inspiring.
That was so much fun. I'm not going to lie, one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I'm counting the days down until the IndyCar season starts all over again. And that will do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us here in the studio. Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2017.